What's up, everybody, and welcome to Health Over Everything podcast, the number one podcast in health and fitness. I'm your host, SoCal Goulah.
And I am Steven Z. And today we are going to be talking about nutrition, basically the foods that we typically eat on a regular basis. So, Aaron, to start it off, let's just say, what does your breakfast look like in the morning?
Today, I had a nice, healthy breakfast. You know, most people eat like cereals and stuff filled with sugar, and that's not good. And you look at the ingredients back there, and who knows what they are. But today, I had me some non-fat Greek yogurt. So I just got a bowl, threw the non-fat Greek yogurt up in there, and I mix it in with oatmeal. So that you taught me that actually.
Yep.
I seen your post and you had it, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna try that. That's a nice, quick, easy meal. So I put the oatmeal in the bowl, throw the non-fat Greek yogurt, and then I mix it around. And after I do that, I will put turmeric in it, a little bit of turmeric, which is a spice. It helps with inflammation, and also it has a lot of cancer-fighting compounds in it. Curcumeric is the cancer-fighting compound that it has in it. So I just throw like a little bit of that in there, and then I mix it around, and I try to get the yogurt with less like sugar in it and stuff like that, not tons of sugar. And then I throw some berries in it. Today I had actually a banana, cut up a banana inside of it and threw it up in there. But most of the time I'll have blueberries or raspberries or blackberries, and I'll throw that in for like an added taste, and also the antioxidants that the blueberries have in it. It has really good antioxidants in it, which fight free radicals, and the free radicals are the cells in your body that create cancer or whatever. So they fight them, and that's what I usually eat for breakfast when I'm going to work on weekdays or when I'm busy, because it's so easy to make. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just oatmeal, non-fat Greek yogurt, some berries, and I'll throw a little bit of turmeric in there. And
Does the turmeric have like a strong flavor?
it has a little bit of a flavor. It's not too bad, but it kind of actually makes the Greek non-fat yogurt taste a little bit better, since it's kind of not the one with lower sugar doesn't have a great like sugary taste, obviously. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit better, but yeah, it's not too bad. You can't really taste it, but you can taste it a little bit. So it does have a little flavor to it, but it's great for your body. And then
Yeah.
when I'm on the weekends and I have more time and I'm just, have more time to do, I'll usually eat, I'll toast a piece of bread, and then I will put an avocado on it, avocado toast, and then I'll put an egg on top. So that's just three ingredients. It doesn't take too much longer, but it takes a little bit longer because I have to cook the egg in, olive oil is what I use. I just cook it in olive oil and I throw the egg on there. So it takes a little bit longer. I have to do the dishes and stuff after that. But yeah,
Yeah.
just avocado toast real quick. That's good too, because it has the protein of the egg in there, and it has the healthy fats of the avocado, and then the bread for a little bit of carbs. And that's my two main meals I go to and been eating breakfast. And then sometimes on the run, if I'm really on the run, I'll just grab me a protein drink.
All
So
right.
what about you? What do you eat for breakfast and why?
My breakfast is very similar. I'll typically, and I weigh all my shit out, so I could tell you like 35 grams of oats, about 30 grams of each berry. And before I was using that same little yogurt as you, but I went to Sprouts last week and I was like, I'm gonna try something different. So I got some is goat milk yogurt. And when I bought it, I kind of underestimated how much like goat flavor it would have in it. So it's kind of off-putting a little bit.
Yeah.
I was used to that like a more of a sweeter yogurt. So with that yogurt, I've been actually adding a little bit of honey to my yogurt just to sweeten it up a little bit. But yeah, so it's oats. I'll put a banana in there, raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries. And obviously, you already stated all the facts behind them, the antioxidants and how they benefit you. And I will usually have eggs too. Pretty much every morning, I'll have two eggs, about 130 grams of egg whites, and then they have these like it's called like power greens. So it's kale, baby spinach, and something else. But it's three different kind of veggies that I'll add to my eggs, and then I'll usually do like a half an avocado with my eggs. So that's like a typical daily breakfast that I have. Um, and then usually on the weekends I'll switch up my breakfast. Sometimes I'll have like bacon and sausage with the family. Those kind of foods have a little bit more fat in them, so I'm careful with how much I eat. I don't overindulge in those things because I like to save room for more healthy things like, the avocados, seeds and nuts, things that are going to be more nutritious for you. Because like pork's one of those things that fat, it adds up really quickly if
Yeah.
you're eating a lot of bacon. I've seen people just get like a plate of bacon and I'm sure, it tastes good, but it's probably not the best for you. It may not be the worst depending on, your
Yeah.
exercise and all that. You do need a certain amount of fat in your diet. So that is a typical breakfast for me and I've pretty much been eating that ever since I started my little health journey. Just my oats, my eggs, and it's usually about 1,000 calories. It's pretty filling, so it keeps me full until I'm having lunch around 11:30 or so. I don't really snack in between. I kind of just have been eating pretty much just like 3 meals a day.
Then you prepare your breakfasts in the morning. You don't meal prep it like you do your
No,
other foods.
I meal prep it the night before.
Also, you meal prep your breakfast too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my kind of routine is after I get home from work, I'll come home, work out if I haven't worked out in the morning, and then from there I'll prep my breakfast for the next day. Just because I have a son, so I have to pick him up at 4:30, and I try not to be cooking and just doing the stuff that I can get done when he's not there, just because obviously when he gets home, he wants to play, he has homework, things like that. So I don't want to just be like, oh no, I'm not playing. I have to cook my food. So all that stuff is kind of time consuming. Although eggs, they're pretty fast to cook. It only takes probably 10 minutes or something. So I get that done before I pick them up from school and just put it in the fridge and eat it in the morning. I usually eat all my food cold too. My eggs, I'm not even gonna warm it up. I just eat it cold.
Wow. Yeah. That's I prepare mine in the morning just before I go. That's why I just do the quick oatmeal thing. That's real quick and easy. And then sometimes, after that, so when I do get to work, because I work a job where I have to travel to, and I get there, I will have like once I get to the job, which is a few hours after I wake up and drive over there, I'll get some snacks too. So I'll start eating like you're talking about snacks. You don't eat, snacks until lunchtime. Well, I'll have some snacks. I'll have usually almonds or pistachios or something like that, or cashews, usually peanuts or nuts, should I say. And that has a lot of protein and calories in it. So that helps me get a little bit more full until lunch. So I'll have that too, but I prepare mine in the morning because I'm just always on the go. I don't really meal prep too much. Sometimes I do. And as we get to lunch, so you don't snack then. So now we're into lunch. What do we eat for lunch? Because let's start with me. When I eat my lunch, I'll usually prepare the lunch. Like I don't prepare my breakfast. I don't prepare my or meal prep my breakfast or my dinner, but I
Okay.
will sometimes, most of the time, meal prep my lunch, especially when I'm busy in the construction job that I have. So what I'll do is this is good for people that are busy with construction jobs. Sometimes I'll just make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because that's easy. And like what I do with that, I went and got, wheat bread. I look for the one with the less sugar. So that's what I do. I look for the wheat bread with the less sugar possible. Sometimes I'll have 7 grams or sometimes I'll have 9. So I'll get the one with 7. So I do
All
that, look
right.
for the less sugar. And then I also I was switching up my jelly. Um, Someone told me the sugar-free jelly could be bad for you. It could be even worse because sometimes it could have some sweeteners, artificial sweeteners and stuff in there. So what are
Yeah.
they putting in there to replace the sugar? And also it makes no sense because if you have fruit in there, it would have sugar anyhow. So
Yeah.
jelly is going to have sugar in it. So I just looked for like we said, I go to Sprouts now too with the yogurt as well. I switched it up, but we go to Sprouts now and get more better food. So I've been looking for jelly that is basically made with organic fruit and try to get the healthiest version of jelly I can. So that I just buy that at Sprouts, which you can kind of like look at the back of the label and check. And then I also get the peanut butter. It has the oil on the top. So I used to just get the
Yeah.
regular peanut butter, which has a lot of different ingredients in it. And you're like, what are all these ingredients? I always look at the ingredients of everything I'm buying now. Try to get as things with less ingredients as possible. So now I just get the peanuts, and the ingredients are just peanuts. It's like peanut butter. It's like, what are the ingredients? On the back, it just says peanuts. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's just one thing. And the oil gets on top. You have to mix it around. And it has not as good taste as the other peanut butter does, but you get used to it. And I kind of like it now. So it's just, everything your taste buds kind of get used to. We're so used to the sugars and the salts, but, so I get these healthier peanut butter, healthier jelly, and bread. And so I'll just make peanut butter jelly for lunch, right? And then
Nice.
sometimes I'll meal prep. I'll go and get a bunch of chicken breasts, chicken thighs, and I'll just cook it up and put it in a container like 2 or 3 days, usually 2 days because I don't like it getting too old.
All
But
right.
so I'll just eat that. I just have a container, a plastic container of food, and it will have chicken breast cut up. Sometimes I'll mix in some chicken thighs with it, or I'll have sometimes fish, but chicken I think works the best for lunch. So I'll just like throw some chicken in there. I'll get a can of beans, warm it up, and just throw it in there, even though it's cold the next day. And so I'll get some beans, canned beans with no salt in it. So I always get the ones with no salt because it's better for your blood pressure. And
Yep.
after a while, it doesn't taste too much difference. So like yeah, it preserves the food longer, but it does make it taste better with salt. But I just do it without the salt. And then sometimes I'll mix in some broccoli in there as well. So, and sometimes some rice. So chicken and rice and broccoli, the typical go to gym guy lunch. And
Yeah.
then and then I'll throw some beans in there too sometimes for some more fiber. And then I'll have like fruits. I'll get as many fruits as I can. Sometimes I'll buy an orange and an apple to snack on throughout the day. Like I said, some nuts, and those are my like little snacks that I have throughout the day. And that's what pretty much I eat for lunch. Like sometimes I will slip up, and sometimes I don't have no time, and I will go to like fast food or something. Like I don't go to fast food like I used to. I never go to like what I used to go to. But like yesterday,
Mhm.
I did go to Chipotle, which is I was like, okay, it's better than McDonald's. It's a little bit better than McDonald's. So I try to look for the healthier option that way. So I go to Chipotle and I had me a burrito, which I should have just had a bowl because it saves you with the tortilla. But that's
Yeah.
very I try to make that as limited as possible. I try not to do that as all ever. So usually I just go peanut butter and jelly or chicken with the other ingredients I just said. So what do you have for your lunch,
Are
Steven?
you having to eat those cold? Your
Oh
lunch
yeah. So
cold?
when I'm eating the chicken and stuff like that, I actually it is cold because I work construction, so I don't have a microwave or anything out there.
Yeah.
But what I do, I found a little trick is I would just put it on the dash in the sun because your car gets a lot hotter than the outside does when the windows are up and stuff like that. That's why you don't leave old people,
Ah,
dogs, or anything, or kids in the car. So I'll just leave it on the dash for a few hours, and when the sun comes up, it actually warms it up pretty good. Especially in the summer, it gets really hot, but you can't leave it up there too long because it kind of bakes it where it's like kind of horrible. So it's like you have to play with it a little bit, the right timing. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I had it up there too long. I got to run down there and go get it. Like, so I have to stop work and go down there and get it and put it in my cooler so it stays fresh. But I do, it warms it up like that. And it actually tastes better. I'm like, oh, it tastes a lot better now that it's warmer because I don't really like cold food. But if it's cold,
yeah.
that's why I also like the chicken as well, too, because, it isn't as bad cold as other foods are, like, you know, vegetables or something like that, spinach or something like that. But yeah,
I
so
feel you.
that's what I do to warm it up. And also, like when I cook my chicken as well, I forgot to say I don't put no seasoning on it or anything like that because I had high blood pressure for a little bit back then. It got better, but
Okay.
I don't really put seasoning on it. Sometimes the only thing I will put on it is I'll get a lemon, I'll cut it up, and I'll squeeze it on the lemon on the chicken, so it gives it a
All
little bit
right.
of lemony flavor, which it actually tastes pretty good and gives some flavor. So that's one little thing I do there too as well.
All right. Nice. And for my lunch, I've been pretty much eating ever since I started the fitness thing is pretty much the same thing for lunch. I'll have ground turkey and beans. And for the beans, I'll switch it up to, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, black beans. Just I try to get a different variety of beans. So I'm not eating the same thing every day. Has a little bit of a different flavor. And I've noticed too, it seems like I'm able to tolerate like the same food for probably about a month before I need to switch it up. And for like
Okay.
for my lunch, I was adding salsa. It only adds like 20 calories for 2 servings. So I was doing salsa. Um, then I was doing like avocado salsa. And now I'm actually back to eating it plain. I ran out of salsa one day, so I'm like, I'm just gonna eat it, just the beans and ground turkey, and it was actually tasting good. So I've been doing that. I was like, I kind of like the way it tastes now. So it's like, oh, I might be at that point where like I need to switch it up just to keep my mind sane and different flavors. I think, they say the variety is the spice of life. So I think that will help with eating the same thing every day. I use like a sriracha seasoning on this one, which I think was really good. So yeah, that's for my lunch. It's about 100 grams of ground turkey, and then I'll do half a can of beans. That just makes it easier for me to kind of keep track of the calories and the macros and all that. Just a half a can one day, I'll do the half a can the next day, and then switch up the beans from that point on. Just a can will last me every 2 days, so every 2 days I'm trying a different type of beans, and I think that's good too because you don't want to just eat, in my opinion, you don't want to eat the same thing every day. You
Yeah.
kind of want to get nutrition from different kind of sources. I'm sure the different beans have different kind of nutrients, different kind of vitamins in them. So I try to be as healthy as I can. Even with my vegetables, I'll eat, one week maybe I'll eat broccoli. The next week it'll be Brussels sprouts. The week after that, maybe green beans. So I kind of try to like to switch it up just to make sure I'm not going to be deficient in some sort of mineral or vitamin in some other area.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much, yeah, that's been my lunch for a while. And
Yeah.
do you have any kind of snacks or things you eat before dinner time, or do you just go straight to dinner after your lunch?
I really don't eat too many snacks on like from lunch to dinner. I usually in the morning after I eat my yogurt and stuff like that, it's just not enough calories, and I got a long day ahead of me. So that's when I'll eat my snacks usually. But sometimes I'll eat all my lunch kind of early, and I will be hungry. So that's when I eat like my banana and my orange and my apple. So
All
that's
right.
I'll eat that, or I'll have extra nuts, and I'll eat those too. Just snack on them a little bit on the ride home. But I also was gonna say, I also do eat turkey too. That goes good with meal prep as well. The ground turkey and chicken. And sometimes, like when I'm meal prepping, besides the chicken, I'll do ground turkey, and I'll throw spinach in there and mix it in, and I'll cook a couple eggs and mix it in. So you can just mix it all together. So it's ground turkey, it's eggs and spinach mixed together, and
Nice.
that's a good nice. And I'll also throw some broccoli in there as well. I love broccoli. That's what I try to eat the most of out of all the vegetables. That's the most tastiest one to me, especially when it's warm after you
Yeah, I
steam
love
it
broccoli.
or boil it. So I could eat a bunch of broccoli. I
Same
actually
here.
acquired a taste to it better now, if anything. But I'll also eat that too, the turkey stuff. So that's really good as well. But I don't have any snacks in between there because I'll just I'll just go home and just eat a nice dinner. Like I try not to eat too much for the breakfast and lunch sometimes, and try to save it all for dinner and get like a nice big healthy dinner. And I try to eat it as early as possible too, so I get more time to um you know digest my food so I could sleep better at night. And also it's longer until the morning, and that's when I weigh myself and see what I am. So see how much I weigh. So if I eat at 2 or 3 o'clock p.m., which is kind of early for people, then it's like more hours till I'm going to weigh myself in the morning, and so I could lose a little bit more weight if I
Yeah.
get in that fastest state as well. But yeah, that's what I was going to say. The ground turkey as well. Do you eat any snacks between lunch and dinner?
I do not. I forgot to say too, with my lunch, I'll have a fruit source too. So
No,
usually it's either apples, I do strawberries, is
I love strawberries.
pears. It's just kind of a switch, I kind of rotate the fruits out every day as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, ground turkey, beans, and fruit. And then kind of going back to my breakfast a little bit. Do you know how many calories you're getting in your breakfast?
I know when I do the the yogurt and stuff, it's around 200 to 300 calories when I was tracking it. I kind of stopped tracking because I was like, okay, I kind of tracked to see everything. I kind of need to go back to it for a little bit here just to refresh my memory and make sure I'm doing everything right, because I kind of got to a moment where I'm not really losing much weight. I got down to like 180 to 183 in that
Okay.
range, and now it's like I'm just kind of like stuck there 179. So I'm like, maybe I need to go back to tracking calories again to see to make sure that I'm at a loss, a deficit, so then I could actually see if what I'm doing to lose weight again because I'm trying to get down to 175 and I'm like stuck at the low 179. So, but yeah, it's around two
Gotcha.
to 300 calories when I eat the yogurt, and it's a little bit more obviously when I eat the bread, the avocado toast. That I would assume because sometimes I eat two of them, sometimes I'll eat three, so it can fluctuate, but it could get up to like 800 calories I think when it was when I was eating three toast because or three avocado toast.
All right. Yeah, I think for me, I'm usually typically getting around 1,000 calories, maybe like 900 to 1,000 calories for my breakfast. So I think that's what kind of holds me over until lunch. That my breakfast is pretty big. So
Yeah,
by the time I get to lunch, like I'm not ever at the point where like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. I need to eat. I kind of,
yeah,
and plus I drink water throughout the day. I think that kind of helps curb your hunger if you're hungry.
yes.
And, I think that's a problem a lot of people have. Like, oh, I'm so hungry. I need to eat something, which is going to add
I got
add calories
my gallon
to your day. Water doesn't add any calories. So
I seen a
when I
meme that said, "You know somebody's all about their health when they carry around a gallon of water with them." And here I go,
yeah,
I got a gallon of water. I'm gonna drink some now.
yeah, it's funny. I actually have one of those like a thermos, a gallon thermos. Um and I'll lug that shit to work. And a lot of people ask me because I've even taken it to like Legoland. I'm like, we're at Legoland, we're gonna be here all day. I want to make sure that
They
I'm
let
able
you
to,
in with that?
yeah, I'm able to drink all my water. But I will get a lot of comments when people ask me, do you drink that all in a day? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm lugging this thing around. And the good thing is, the more you drink, the lighter it gets. In the
Yeah.
morning, that shit's pretty heavy. But
You're
by
just gonna need to wear a
lunchtime,
backpack thing with the like how we do hiking. It just goes to your mouth when you're at Legoland,
yeah,
so you don't
should
have to
do that.
carry
Just
it
have a backpack on and
with a bladder inside of it.
be a weird guy at lunch. It's just put the little piece in your mouth to get the water.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. At least you don't have to carry the thing.
but I guess it's uncommon for people to drink a lot of water. So
And it's a good weapon too, so you could hit somebody with your little water container
yeah,
that you have. You
I
just
actually
smack
did that to
it.
Valerie yesterday. She was messing with me, and I had my gallon in my hand. I acted like I was swinging it at
Put
her.
your hand up. Yeah.
Yeah, that would knock somebody out, especially if if it was full.
Yeah, it's uncommon for
Um,
a lot of people to drink water, so that's another thing that we do too. I just drink mostly water. A lot of people could drink coffee too, which is not that bad, but a lot of people drink obviously sugar water, which is soda
mhm.
and a bunch of sweet drinks. And it tastes good, but after you don't drink it for a while, like I haven't drank soda in a long time, and once you do drink it, then it's like you have a little bit, and you're like, man, this shit doesn't even taste that good. It does not really taste that good. Try not to drink water for a long time or soda for a long time, and then drink a soda and you're like, wow, the taste is so much different. So I just drink
Yeah,
water mainly. That's all I drink pretty much besides protein drinks.
I am. Sometimes I have coffee. Right now in my life, I feel like I've been on a coffee kick for maybe like 2 weeks now, but I'll go through my phases where I just don't feel like coffee. But yeah, the last 2 weeks I've been having coffee. But
Yeah.
I hear too, I'm not sure how much truth there is to it, but it's better to have like water first thing when you wake up, and that coffee first thing is a little bit worse for you.
Oh, okay.
So first thing every morning, I'll have my creatine. I take creatine monohydrate. I'll have that with a tall glass of water every morning
Oh,
before
okay.
my coffee. So, and that's pretty much only, creatine monohydrate and protein
I need to
powder
get
is
more protein
the
and
only
creatine.
supplements. What happened?
I need to get protein and creatine in my diet as well
Yeah,
because
those
it
are
helps
the
with muscle growth.
yeah. I think the creatine is supposed to like fill your muscles up with more water. It does. Like I remember when I was working out, when I had my little first run in my with my fitness journey, I was
Yeah.
taking creatine and I ran out, so I stopped taking it, and I did notice like a slight decrease in my strength. So
Oh,
I
wow.
would say that it does add a little bit. It's not going to make you Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything
Yeah.
like that, but it does add a little bit. And if you're trying to optimize your workouts and your health, I think it's just, and it's one of those supplements too that have, from what I've read, no negative side effects. You can't overdo it, and there's really no negative aspects to it. So a lot of people say if you're not taking creatine and you're working out, like you're doing yourself a disservice. Like you should be doing
Get on
it.
it. I need to get on that shit then.
They should try it and then just see. I think it takes like they say like a week to kind of get into a loading period to like top off your body.
Well,
But
Christmas is
after
coming
that,
up, so you can buy me
but
some.
I'll buy you something. I'll buy you some for Christmas.
That's
I'll Amazon it and have it delivered to your house. I have your
beautiful.
address.
Thank you so much.
You're just gonna wake up one day like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, perfect.
um, but yeah. I mainly drink water too. Sometimes I'll drink tea. That was another thing I was
Oh
doing
yeah,
for a little
it's
bit.
great for you.
I would fill up my gallon before the night before, put like 3 tea bags in it, and just let it soak overnight. So then the morning, I'd basically be sipping on tea all day at work.
You put sweetener in it,
No,
just
not
lemon,
even like even when I
lemonade.
went out to like dinner and stuff, I'd always get the non-sweet tea, and I prefer it without all without the sweetness in it.
Yeah, which is healthy.
Yeah.
That's the
I don't
healthy way
really
to
have
go.
too much of a sweet tooth. Like every once in a while I'll have like this craving where like, oh, I want something sweet. So I'll just work it into my diet pretty much. I'll make
Yeah,
sure that my calories are within my range. And sometimes I'll, especially on the weekends, my macronutrients, I'll switch them up a little bit where if I'm gonna have like a high, like those, like I told you, um, some breakfasts, I'll have sausage and bacon in the morning. So
hmm
for those days, if my fats are a little bit higher than what I would like, it's like it's not gonna kill me. It's like, I'm good 5 days a week if and my fat grams are usually about 70 grams a day. So if
okay.
I go up to 80 grams or even 90, like I'm like, it is what it is. I'll just cut some carbs out for that day and it is what it is. My calories are where they need to be, my proteins where they need to be, which is about 200 grams a day.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty consistent with my diet.
yeah. So I wanted to go back to like, I also with the beans. You say you switch them up. I switch my
Mm-hmm.
beans up too. I have all the different kinds of beans. Like I said, they're all salt free, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
BPA free. On the can too. You gotta see that. Make sure the
Yeah,
can has no
you turned
BPA
me on to
chemicals in
that.
it. But that's what they have at Sprites or Sprouts. Uh, but like what you're saying about variety is what you guys should really think of like when you're a lot of people want to go on these strict diets. You want to go on strict diets and just eat the same thing over and over, and then they fail and they end up gaining the weight back or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
get unhealthy, their metabolic health gets back to being bad again. So
Mm-hmm.
I switch it up too, like like yes, I do eat the yogurt in the morning, but then sometimes I'll have the avocado toast, and sometimes I'll have the ground turkey, and sometimes I'll have the chicken, and sometimes I'll throw in the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then I'll have different fruits and different beans. So it's like all this stuff is different. Like sometimes I'll have green beans instead of broccoli. So but it's all tasty. Like it's really healthy food and it's really tasty. But let's move on to dinner now, right? So what do you eat for dinner after we just discussed everything else that we ate?
Typically for dinner, I'll do it's chicken and some sort of veggie and like a starchy vegetable, whether it's like a lately I've been doing yams and I recently got the purple sweet potatoes, which they do
That's
have
nice.
a slightly different flavor, but they're supposed to be really good for you. They have a lot of antioxidants in them, a lot of vitamins and minerals. It's high in fiber, all the things that your body needs. So, and they actually taste good. So I've been doing the purple sweet potatoes this week, and I was doing these regular potatoes, but I heard a video. I'm trying to think who it was by. Can't remember who said it, but they were saying that McDonald's gets a certain potato for their fries. So when I went shopping at Staters the next day, or the next time I went, I was like, let me see what kind of potatoes I get in. So like, sure enough, there are these potatoes that the guy was talking about. They spray all these pesticides on them, and he's like, they actually have to let the potatoes sit and like let the fumes and shit get off of them for like 6 weeks before before they can sell them. I'm like, that's
Not good.
probably not good for you. Like, and the reason why they spray all the chemicals is because it was like a outfit or these little bugs that get on them and create these brown spots. So it was like this whole thing just to get these brown spots out of the potatoes. They're dumping all these chemicals and shit on them. And I'm like, that is probably not good for you. Like maybe, I do wash it before, I cut it up and cook it.
Yeah.
But maybe the soap doesn't get all of it off. So I'm like, let me look for something else. So I kind of got away from the regular potatoes and just been doing the yams and the purple sweet potatoes. And that's pretty much my dinner. I do, like I said, I switch up the different vegetables, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, green beans. Um, those are my main twos. I don't really. I'm trying to think if I really have any
Do
other.
they have those potatoes that you're talking about that McDonald's uses at Sprouts, or is that just at the regular grocery store?
I haven't looked at Sprouts just because I haven't been eating them.
Oh, okay.
But Stater Brothers had that brand,
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
like, I'm gonna just stay away from this one.
Yeah, anything McDonald's use. I heard they use tallow butter. Now they use something different. I don't know. Like I don't even trust anything McDonald's does.
Yeah, probably not good for you. It tastes really good, but if you're focusing on your health, probably not the best thing to be having, especially like every once in a while is probably all right, but not, you can't have your main meals be around fast food. And
Yeah.
uh,
So
what about your dinner? How's your
okay,
dinner
dinner
look?
is my favorite meal of the day. I love dinner. Like I don't know, just because that's when usually my favorite food comes in, which is steak. I love steak. A
Nice.
lot of people say it's high in saturated fat, which may be true or not, but now I started eating actually grass-fed steak. I go to Sprouts and buy my grass-fed steak, which you can tell that it's actually redder than the other steak.
Mm.
But supposedly, if the cow eats nothing but grass 100% of the time, it actually is lower in saturated fats because
All
it's
right.
like that's naturally how it eats. And when
Like
you
the
feed it
cow's healthier.
cornmeal,
It's
huh?
like the cow's healthier. So
Yeah.
obviously the meat's gonna be better.
Yeah, so like what you eat eats, and yeah, if it's feeded cornmeal, then it gets fatter, so it has more fat inside its fat inside of its meat. So then it's actually higher in saturated fat. But anyhow, I love steak, so I just put it on a pan, a little steak pan, cook it on both sides for whatever 5-10 minutes each side, whatever it is,
I like
kind of
those
like a little red in the
grill
middle.
marks you have. You're like a little professional.
Wait, what'd you say?
I saw a picture of your steak last time and the grill marks that you have on it. I'm like, oh, this feels like a professional. You had that little like cross section in there.
Yes, like, and it's funny too because I was actually just doing it on a regular pan, and someone says, "What are you cooking your steak in?" And it looks like it's boiled, and I'm like, "Just a regular pan." And he posted a picture on Twitter, of the pan that has like little grooves in it.
Yeah.
It's like I think my roommate might have one of those, so I checked it, and she did, and so I started using that, and it actually is way better because it like lifts the steak up a little bit off the pan, puts the grill marks in it, and all the grease and stuff that comes off the steak goes below it in those grooves, so it doesn't like pop as much and get all over the place, and it doesn't look like it's boiled. So, but yeah, it's a lot
Nice.
better like that. Gets a nice sear to it. So I heat up the pan for a little bit, let it get hot, and then I throw it on there and it sears it. So then it gets a nice sear in the outside and keeps it a little bit of red in the middle, which I
Yeah.
like. But yeah, so I love steak, and I always say it's um the meal of the kings. Like I'm eating a nice steak, and then like I'll usually eat some beans with it if I don't have a lot of beans during lunch. I try to eat like a can of beans per day because it's really high in fiber. We watched a
Yeah.
TV show on Netflix called How to Live to 100, like centenarians. Most
Mhm.
centenarians use a lot of beans in their diet. They'll eat a lot of beans, I heard. So it's a lot of fiber and it's really good for you, a lot of minerals and stuff in it and vitamins. So I've been eating a lot of beans since then, which I was kind of annoyed because I had high blood pressure. So I was like, I can't eat the canned beans. And that's just like doing the beans where you have to boil. It takes a lot longer to cook. Well, then I
Yeah.
realized that they had beans in cans with zero salt in it. So that's a lifesaver for me because now I get to eat all the beans I want. So I love beans. I eat a lot of beans with my steak, usually for dinner. And then sometimes, like you, I will have a starchy vegetable. I actually have two purple potatoes in my cupboard right now to ready to eat. I bought them and I still haven't ate them, but I have a yam, sweet potatoes, or purple potatoes with the steak a lot of times as well too, because it's really fulfilling. It fills you up and it gives so it stops that hunger feeling, and it's not that
Yeah.
many um calories. It's a little bit of calories, but it's not like a bad like a chocolate or something sweet or junk food that doesn't fill you up, but it has a lot of calories. This has
Yeah.
calories, but it fills you up, so you're not as hungry. So I'll eat like a potato, sweet potato, a yam, a steak, and beans, and then broccoli. I have a lot of broccoli so I'll have a big meal usually. I try not to eat as much that throughout the day, do breakfast and lunch, and I want that big dinner, which I usually say like I'll eat early, 2 or 3 o'clock, so it gives time to wear off. But yeah, I love steak with a potato or sweet potato or something like that, beans, and a bunch of broccoli too, because that also helps fill you up in your stomach as well. So I'll eat a lot of broccoli as much as I can because that actually helps you live a lot longer as well. It fights a lot of
Hmm.
cancer fighting stuff in there. And that's what I'll eat. I'll eat a big meal because I want to be nice and filled up so I'm not hungry for the rest of the day, and I don't try to eat or snack later on throughout the day, since especially since I
All
eat
right.
early and I don't go eat really nothing after that. I don't really try to eat no junk food. I don't eat no chocolates or ice cream or popcorn or anything like that. I try not to eat none of that. I just don't have it in the house, so you can't even eat it. But eating a big
Yeah.
meal like that for dinner is what I usually eat. But sometimes I will switch it up. I don't have steak every day because I try to get different, like you say, different nutrients and different minerals and vitamins from different sources. So throughout the week, so I don't want just steak. So sometimes I will have salmon, which I'll get the Hawkeye wild caught salmon, wild caught. It's redder as well, has bones in it. Like the other pinker one, instead of the reddish one, is farmed salmon. So what they do
All
is
right.
farm it just like how they do the cows with the cornmeal diet instead of the grass fed diet, right? So that these are wildly caught salmon. They're called sockeye, and they're a lot healthier, and because they're eating a natural diet instead of like a farmed animal. So I don't. Those are a lot better too. I get those at Sprouts, so I get all this stuff costs a little bit more money, but it's a lot healthier for you in the long run and might help save you for medical bills down the line, which are way worse. I
Yeah.
don't want to have a medical bill, and
Those
it
are
tastes
expensive too.
just good. And then sometimes I'll eat chicken too, but I try to usually get that for lunch. But if I just have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch because I'm busy, then I will switch off. So it's just those four meats is basically the staple of my diet. Steak is number one. I love steak. I usually get a ribeye, and I'll have the sockeye salmon, and I'll get chicken breasts and chicken thighs and ground turkey. Those are my meats that I go to.
Yeah, I actually heard something about like farm raised fish is that you think you're eating healthy because you're getting a fish, but because they're fed like I'm not sure what their diet is. I'm not sure if it's corn too.
Yeah, I think it's corn as
uh,
well. The
yeah.
corn, they pretty much is the cheapest kind of food for the factory farming. So they use
Hmm.
it pretty much for everything.
Yeah, but I heard that the fish doesn't actually have all the nutrients and like vitamins that it should have because it doesn't have those kind of normal foods it would eat in its diet. So it
Yeah.
does it, think about it just like a human. If you're eating fast food all the day, like you're going to be deficient in some sort of vitamins and minerals because you're not getting it in your diet. So it's the same way with the fish. If
Hmm.
it's farm raised, you're not getting all the nutrients that you should be getting if you're getting something that was caught out in nature. So I think that's something to think about as well. So moving along to dessert now.
Yeah. What do
I'm
we
joking.
snack on that is not healthy in per se for us, but you got to live a little still, even no matter how healthy you are.
Yeah, I typically, like I said, I don't have a sweet tooth per se, but I will have my phases where I go through it. So every once in a while I'll have some ice cream or something like that, but it's few and far in between. I'm
Yeah.
pretty strict with my diet. It's funny too. My fiance, she even complimented me on like damn, like whenever we go out, like you have like the willpower to say no. And I've
Yeah.
gotten to that point where it's like, I'm focused on my fitness goal, and I know doing certain things will take me off that path. So when I'm out and people offer me foods, I don't do it. Like even at work the other day, someone and I didn't even ask for it. I'm just sitting there eating, and this woman just walks up and drops a pie next to me, and I'm like, and at the same time, I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
And she wasn't really paying attention to me. She was talking to some of her other coworkers, so I kind of didn't want to interrupt her and say like, I don't want this. No, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it, but no thanks. So I used my container that I had my fruit in, and I just scooped it in there real quick, and I brought it home for my fiance. But
Yeah. So, yeah, you're very much more on point than I am. Like I'm doing so much better than I ever have in my life. Got lost all this weight, but still I'll mess up a lot of times. And I ain't gonna lie, like sometimes I'll go to Wingstop. I went to Chipotle yesterday, like, and those are here and there I'll go to Five Guys or In and Out. and I see that you're a lot more on point with yours, which I'm still working on, but I am doing better. Like today, I'm like, I'm gonna eat good all day today, no matter what. And I
Mhm.
usually do eat pretty good, but sometimes I will slip up and eat, like I said, one of those things. But for dessert, like I will usually, like if I really want something, like I'm like, okay, I've been doing really good for a long time, and it's time for a treat. I usually like chocolate. I'll either get a candy bar, which I heard had heavy metals in them sometimes. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
crazy. But something with chocolate. I love chocolate. I don't really
Dark
eat ice cream
chocolate.
that much, but sometimes I'll eat ice cream, but not really, hardly ever. I usually like a chocolate cake or a candy bar or something. That's what I usually like as I go to. But I have heard recently, learned there's a place across the street from my house called Berry Brand, and they sell a cake. I think it's Akashi, or how do you say it again?
Asahi.
Asahi. Asahi, and it's like gojo berries, and
Hmm.
it's cold. It's kind of like ice cream, how they make it, and they'll put a bunch of fruits and stuff on it, and that's pretty good actually, and it's a lot healthier than ice cream. I don't know exactly how healthy it is because I haven't done too much research, but it has like
Hmm.
seeds in it. It has gojo berries. It has like they'll have strawberries, blueberries, and stuff like that on it, and I'll eat that sometimes, and that's pretty good for a treat instead
Yeah,
of
it's
eating something like
probably
a
better
candy
than
bar
a
or
lot of
chocolate.
things.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So
So
what do you?
I was gonna ask you a question.
Oh,
So what would you recommend, like for anyone that is kind of eating unhealthy, maybe majority of their meals are coming from fast food, or what kind of things helped you kind of switch over to eating a more healthy diet, a more like well-balanced diet? Because I think that's the hard part is breaking those
yeah.
habits, and it's just so easy to go drive through, pick up some food and just eat that. But obviously that's not going to be the healthiest route. So what was the trick for you to get to where you're at right now?
Yeah, so the catalyst for me was just, the fear of death, honestly. Yeah, like
The big motivator.
it's pretty much like it takes a lot to get off these habits. Like, you're so ingrained into your diet, and it's so like I've been eating this diet of fast food and bad stuff since I was a child. So it's
Hmm.
really hard. So like once I started feeling really bad in my body and I was just like, what is going on? Then I really took a look inside of what did I needed to do to eat better and to help me feel better. And so I checked my blood pressure. It was super high. My looked like I was pre-diabetic. I started gaining a lot of weight, but I really felt bad. Like I was like, oh my God. Some days I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack or something. Like I could feel my stomach beating way harder than it should. I felt my heart feeling weird. I felt get heartburn and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna die. And then I think about my dad dying of high of heart disease, and that
Hmm.
just the fear of that and feeling really bad. I was like, okay, I need to take action, and that's what led to it. It's like sometimes it's sad to say, but people need to go to the extremes in order to change. So if you can try to change somehow, some way before you get there. And I'm luckily I changed by feeling bad instead of actually having a heart attack or a stroke or something like that first, and try to get
Hmm.
on path before that happened and reverse the effects of the metabolic health and all that stuff too. But it was just mainly the fear of death and feeling super horrible. Couldn't looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing that fat belly and getting tired of it, and just be like, you know what, I'm going to make a change. And that was the catalyst to it all, is basically how I felt. And then I
Yeah.
just started learning. Then it's just educating yourself, learning more about like education yourself about nutrients and diet and all that stuff. And I learned a lot through like the book How Not to Die, and like this podcast we talk about it a little bit, and just researching on Chat GPT. Like I would just search everything, like why are beans good for you, why is salt bad for you, why is sugar bad for you, how can I stop, just kept any question I had with my diet. Why are sweet potatoes good for you, what are the pros and cons of steak, what are the pros and cons of chicken. And I was just learning as much as I can no matter what I was eating. Like if I put it in my mouth, I'm like, okay, what is the pros and cons of this, to Chat GPT, and it would tell me what's wrong with it and stuff and what's good on it. And I was like, okay, I don't want to eat this because it has that. I want to eat this because it has this. And I would just learn as much as I can and just keep slowly switching it up. And now I came to a point where I lost a bunch of weight. My blood pressure is basically down to normal and my sugar levels. But then I start feeling good. And then when I start feeling good, I'm like, oh, I could actually eat something bad again because I feel so good. And I eat something bad, I'll eat a soda, I'll go eat some processed foods, some fast foods or something like that, and then I'll feel bad again, or I'll just feel like shit for that day. And then I'm like, remember, and that feeling when I get it, I just like remember this is why you started in the first place. So then I'll go back to it. I'm like, okay, I got to keep back on it. Can't go back to that because I'm gonna be back exactly where I was. I just put in all
Yep.
this work. I'm not trying to get back to feeling, I just did months and months of work to feel this way, feel good. And I'm not trying to go back to feeling like I'm going to die. And who knows, you might die, like you might have a heart attack, you might have a stroke. So that was the main catalyst for me to start living a healthy lifestyle and eating a more nutritious and a more healthier diet.
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, I feel like I said, even with like my drinking, I'm like a all or nothing type of individual. So it's like if I'm going to be working out, I want to make the most of it. I want to make sure that my nutrition's on point. Because I don't care how much you're working out, if your nutrition isn't dialed in, like you're not going to get the results you could be getting, and you may not, more than likely, probably get the results that you wanted.
Yep.
I feel like most people in our society, they're trying to lose weight. I'm in the phase where I'm trying to gain weight,
Yeah.
but a lot of people are in the other boat where they're overweight and they want to lose the weight. And for me, one of the only ways I know to do that is to get your nutrition dialed in. Like you're like they say, you can't out train a bad diet. If you're eating 4,000 calories of it could even be healthy food, you're gonna, stay plump. And one of the reasons I went on my nutrition thing is because I
Yeah.
wanted to get the results. I want to know what I'm doing. I don't want to spin my wheels with my workouts. Workouts are hard, they're intense. I don't want all that work to be for nothing. And I
Yep.
guess, I'm thinking of other people who are having like a difficult, transition into living a more healthy lifestyle. um, One of the things I would recommend is just sticking to something that you can do. Don't go on some crazy uh no carb diet if you're not going to be able to do it. Like you might be able to do it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe even 6 months. But if you know that like in the back of your brain you're dying to eat carbs, like eventually you're going to crack and you might end up to the weight you were before when you started. So whatever diet you pick, whether it's like the carnivore, which I would, I always say this, I'm not going to recommend it because I think you should get your veggies too.
Yeah, me too.
But find a diet that you can stick to. Try to make it kind of well balanced too,
Yeah.
because that in the end, that's what is going to help you hit your goal is consistency. And if you can't stick to something long term, like it's not going to be sustainable for you. And in the end, it might be kind of like a detriment. It might set you back, and then you get all discouraged. Oh, I can't do it. So find something that you enjoy, stick to it, and I think that's going to benefit you the most.
Yes. Yep. True that. And also look at what we are wearing, as you could tell, like we are living that ho 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 life.
We're
Shirts.
twinning today.
Christmas, right? So it's Christmas time. What do people do on Christmas? They eat. Like everyone's like, "Oh, it's the holidays. I'll wait till the new year to get on my diet and my health plan," right? So there's going to be a lot
I
of,
wait.
and it's really hard to get, you know, healthy and eat right during these times, especially when you're going back to your family. I'm going to Florida and for a week, and so my mom is definitely going to be having me a bunch of food there. She's going to be cooking cookies and baking a bunch of pies and have a nice Christmas dinner. So it's really hard this time of year to get through it, but just try every single day. Like just because Christmas is coming doesn't mean you got to eat the whole entire month. Doesn't mean you have to wait until next year. Try to limit. If you're going to gain a little bit of weight over the holidays, they say gain 5 pounds, don't gain 15, right? Try to
Yeah.
limit as much as you can. Just eat good, like on Thanksgiving, just eat that day and then go back into it. Don't fall into the trap of eating bad again for long periods of time. And that's the hard part about this Christmas thing and Thanksgiving. But every holiday is celebrated with food mainly, but Christmas, I think, and Thanksgiving are the worst because everyone's like, "Oh, I'll
Yeah.
just wait till the holidays. It's winter time. The sun goes down sooner." Like there's Christmas. There's a bunch of goodies that everyone's doing. You're having Christmas parties at work, and then you're going to your family, and they have Christmas foods, and it's really hard to just resist, like eating that little bit at a time. And then once you just pop one, then you're just like, then you keep doing it, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so it's like try not to gain as much. If I'm
Yeah.
180, I can't get more than 183 and then get back on it. Don't be like I'm 180 and I'm gonna be 195 after this month because I just ate bad all month long. And that's
Yeah.
my goal right now, is just getting through this. I'm just kind of focused on, okay, I need to get through this month, this Christmas month. I'm going to go to Florida for a week, and I'm going to try to like get my mom to get on some of the Goulah diet, the SoCal Goulah diet, and eat.
Nice.
Like I'm going to be cooking for her. I'm like, okay, I'll eat your Christmas meal, which is bomb. I love my mom's cooking, and I,
Hmm.
I love her food and all the stuff she makes. I'll eat the Christmas meal, but the rest of the time we're going to be eating what I'm eating. I'm going to teach you how to eat this good stuff so she can lose a little bit of weight as well, because I'm worried about her.
Yeah. I'd say too, if you're gonna, with Christmas coming up, if you are gonna be eating, the crazy foods and the pies and all that stuff, like
Yeah,
have it, but limit yourself. Don't eat half of the pie, maybe have a little slice just to get it in your taste buds, just to, get the taste of it in your mouth and be content with that. Just don't go overboard on it and gain, like you said, 15 pounds, 5 pounds, that's reasonable. I feel like typically too, if you have a day like even for Thanksgiving, I think we probably both ate a little bit more than we should.
yeah,
Kind of was I had a little bit more of the Hawaiian sweet rolls. I was like haven't had
yeah.
them for a while. They're really good. I told myself I would eat three, but I was like, it's Thanksgiving. I'll have a couple more. Had a big old slice of pie. And I didn't gain a crazy amount of weight, but it was noticeable.
Yeah,
But within like a week or less, like your weight, if you go back to where the way you're eating before and, don't let it derail you, like the weight comes back down. Like it doesn't stick with you for a very long time.
yeah. Doesn't
So,
accumulate into fat yet. It's just like you have a bunch of food in your stomach and your gut, and a few
mhm.
days later you go right back to it. The very next day, get back on your diet, maybe fast for a little bit, intermittent fasting, and then you kind of like get it out of your system and you go back down. But if you keep eating like that, then it accumulates as fat, and then it's a lot harder to get rid of.
Yeah,
But make
exactly.
sure after Christmas you get back on it hard and you go hard. Like we need you to, don't just make a New Year's resolution and go for a week. Keep it going. Like, okay, you messed up for Christmas. You gained 5 to 10 pounds. Okay, well, that means you're gonna go hard on a New Year's, but do it for 8 months. Christmas ain't for another 12 months. There's no
Yeah.
excuse after that. I don't want to see excuses and you gaining the weight and then be like, I'm going up back on a good diet on New Year's, and then after that, what are you doing? You're like, you go for a week or a month and then you're back on your diet and you kind of like just don't talk about it and don't bring it up, and like no one will notice. No, I notice. I'm watching you. Make sure
You're
you stay on
looking.
it.
Yeah, too. And if you do, gain, even if it's 15 pounds over the holidays, just make sure you go hop back on the horse. Don't let it, because I feel like a lot of people run into this problem because I have, is that when you do gain the weight, you kind of get discouraged and it's more likely that you'll continue with the bad habits instead of going back to what you were doing. So if you've been on your health journey for a long time and you slip up, this month or whatever, you gain 15 pounds, like cut yourself a little bit of slack. I think you have to have a balance because I'm kind of hard on myself, but I'm trying to learn how to when I do slip up, how to kind of have some like grace with myself and be like,
Yeah.
it's all right, just get back on the horse. And you had a moment of weakness and just don't beat yourself up to the point where you're going to give up. Get
Yep.
back on the horse, get back on the grind, get to your goal that you want, whether it's losing weight or building muscle. Just hit your damn goals, man, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Fitness is one of those things that, it's all you versus you. It's got to be you going to the gym. It's got to be you putting the food in your mouth. So do the damn thing for yourself and continue on with the grind.
Yes, sir. That's what we got to do. So that will wrap up this episode 15. That's all what we eat. And hopefully, you guys can get some sort of insight into what we eat so it could help you in your own diet.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're losing weight. Steven's looking good. I'm losing weight, looking good. So we're
Thank you,
getting more
sir.
healthier. So it works, like this is what we're eating, like this is what we're doing. And we had this episode out here just so you can get some insight of what we kind of eat. So you can see, like, okay, they're losing weight. What are they doing? So now you kind of know. So that's what we're talking about today. And hopefully you guys get your diet on point and dialed in, because true health over everything, true nutrition and true health is going to start in the kitchen no matter what. No matter how much you work out, no matter what you do, you got to eat good. That's what you put in your body. That's one of the forefronts of health. So make sure you get that in order.
Uh-huh. I'd probably want to add that, nutrition might even be second. I think I've heard you say this too. I think it's your mindset first. You got to get your mind right, and then everything else becomes easier. Once you make a decision up here that you're going to do something, and no matter what happens, you're going to do it and be disciplined no matter what. Like that's going to help you in the long run too. Like diet, it's going to help you with your diet. It's going to help you with your fitness. It's going to help you with doing your runs. It's going to help with everything. Being disciplined and having like a strong state of mind, the steel trap up there, and just don't let anything or anyone knock you off your course.
Yes, sir. Mindset is definitely key no matter what you're trying to do in life. So change your mindset, people. Change it into a healthy lifestyle, the health over everything. You're living that whole life, the health over everything
Yeah.
life, right? So this is the journey. This is the mission statement that we're doing. Living that whole life means getting your mindset changed into a health mindset. And it
Mm-hmm.
starts with everything like sleep, nutrition, exercise, mental health, everything, but it all starts with your mindset. So with that, we're going to end the episode. I'm SoCal Goulah, and I'll see
I'm
you on the next one.
and I'm Stephen Z, and thank you for everyone that's listened to this. We appreciate you guys, and we are super thankful for having you.
Peace out.